You should use a condom before you listen.
The American dream is dead.
John Lisle, L.A. Lloyd, and Drew Bennett, Beaver Kool-Aid.
I don't know. I don't know if the American dream is dead or not. I mean, look at Little Kim and Big Don. They're chilling together. Life is good, man. World's at peace. D-nukes.
At least at this moment.
Right. I wonder if they're going to have jokes like, CD's nuts, CD's nukes. I don't know.
Wow.
No?
I wanted to did you stay up all night and write that yesterday?
I just came up with that right now, drinking my, I'm having a nice, fine Vigilance Pinot Noir Rosé for the summertime. Thought I'd share that with you.
You said you were going to go rosé.
Yeah.
While Lloyd is drinking and John's doing whatever John does, I am trying to turn over a new leaf. And I went back to the gym today.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had smoking rooms at the gym.
Yeah. If smoking was a sport, I would be Mr. Universe. So I go back in and I'm gonna take it easy. I'm first of all, I'm in there to lose weight because I took some embarrassing before photos that really rocked my world. Yeah, man.
Do you have an Audi?
Might as well. I mean, it's gonna happen at some point, right? I keep getting fatter, and so I go back into the gym and I'm gonna start light. So I decide I'm gonna go and ride my bike for 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna go sit in the sauna because I enjoy doing that. And so, I ride the bike and I feel pretty good. I've started the day out. Just you guys, I'll be honest with you. I haven't woken up in the piss poor mood that I was in this morning in a very long time. Very long time. I don't know if I'm fighting depression or something, or if I've got to go in and see somebody. But anyway, I was in a really bad mood. And I thought, you know what? If I go to the gym, at least I'll feel good. I'll feel good about having done it. And I'll physically feel good after I'm done.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. But I go in and I ride the bike, and then I walk, and I don't take a shower at the gym because I'll explain that. But I don't take a shower at the gym. But I do go in and stand in the sauna before I leave. And so I go into the sauna and I sit down. There's nobody in there. It's really hot. I haven't been there in a sauna in a long time. It seems like it's a little hotter this time. And this dude walks in. He's like 6'6" and 75 years old.
Wow.
And buck fucking naked.
Did he have one of those mule cocks hanging down or anything? Like when it kind of drags
salt and pepper pubes. It wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't fun to look at.
Hey, salt and pepper pubes, man, are a little, don't go there.
He
comes down and he
close to
sits
the groin for Lloyd there.
Yeah.
He comes and sits down, across from him. He's not sitting next to me or anything. And I was kind of thinking, what are you doing, man? He's sitting his flat ass down on the bench and sweating his ass off.
No towel, nothing, huh?
Nothing.
No,
nothing.
That's what the older guys always do. They're the ones that are
He's the third person that said that to me today. Third person that said that.
Pubic hair and
older guys, they don't give a fuck. They go out.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Whenever you go to the gym, it's the older guys. They just, lay it all out. They don't care.
He was balls out in there. I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, what are you doing, dude? You're sitting there sweating all over that. I was like, well, how many people are going to sit on that today, dude?
Right.
And there you are with all your bodily fluids or whatever, sitting on that bench, you fucking idiot. At least sit on a towel. Or better off, put a towel on.
Yeah.
Or put some clothes on. I mean, I go in fully clothed.
I have a friend that who listens to this podcast. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's gonna know that I'm talking about him. But he actually shaves in the sauna. And boy, does he piss off. Oh, he pisses off everybody. He goes in there and shaves.
Gosh.
Yeah. Wow. He knows.
Wow.
Oh, he goes in there and shaves in the sauna. He's like, what? What?
What's he shaving?
Them salt and pepper pubes.
I can't get behind that.
No, the old guys, they always do that. Those are the guys that just kind of, hang out naked in the locker room all the time.
If it wasn't my friend, I'd probably get pissed. But just to hear him tell the story and how everyone else gets pissed, I have to laugh about it. But I can just see him in there, kind of like your friend that you saw today, butt ass naked, balls kind of hanging over the side of the fucking bench, and just putting on a little shaving cream and just going at it.
Wow. That's amazing. You should do that in the shower if you do that at all at a gym. You shouldn't do it at a gym.
I mean, I think I saw
do
something online where maybe Jimmy Kimmel has this feature moments in Florida or something like that. I don't watch the show, so I don't know it. But I didn't watch the video, but you could see the still, and it was a woman shaving her legs in a pool. I mean, a pool that other people use, not your backyard pool.
Right.
That's wrong.
Yeah, but it's always the old guys in the locker room.
There is no shame, man.
I'm telling you.
Well, you get to a certain point. I think you have a certain level of comfortability, but that's not the same as sanitation.
Yeah.
Look, man, I don't need your sweaty ass all over the wood here in the sauna. That's the sauna.
In the sauna. I think that when you're a kid, you just have so many fucks. I mean, you give a fuck about everything.
Right.
And then as you get older, I think your fucks start to kind of thin out a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And then when you're old like that, 75, you just don't have any more fucks to give.
I think I have about one right now. I used to have two, but I'm down to one.
When you're extremely young, you don't care, and then when you're extremely old, you don't care.
Right.
But how do you know the dude's 75?
Well, he's old. I mean, he's very leathery.
But I'm getting closer to 75. How do you know he's 75? Could have been 65.
It was maybe those annual rings on his nuts, kind of like a tree. You know, he was kind of counting. He was counting the veins in his balls.
John, his ball sack was hanging down to the floor. He had to have been 80.
Did he cover his crotch in onions and bell peppers while he was in there?
It was a lemon party in there, dude.
Yeah, don't worry, just making dinner.
It was gross.
So were you guys as bummed as I was about Anthony Bourdain?
Oh man,
yeah.
I'm a huge fan and have been for so long. And Friday morning when I saw that, it just floored me. I was in shock and down for days after that.
a friend of mine was just in New Orleans this weekend, and his wife is a bartender, so she was talking to all the service people, and literally everywhere they went, it was like the entire city. It didn't matter. It was an Anthony Bourdain story.
I mean, you know what? People get sick, right? And they die. And that's one of the big things that we've dealt with recently with celebrities as they've gotten older, but also as they've, whatever it was, drugs or food or alcohol, whatever it was, or, you know, how these, or old age. But then, so you got that. And then you got the people that kill themselves. And that's kind of a different deal, right? I mean, it is a different deal. And the thing about Anthony, because, you know, Kate Spade killed herself too. I think her family had mentioned that there was a series of, you know, that she was suffering on and off maybe throughout her life. Just one of those people that suffers from that. And then you got Anthony Bourdain, who has lived. He was a punk when he was, you know, growing up, and he gets a job at a restaurant, and he becomes, you know, a fantastic you know, chef, and then he becomes famous through his television shows and so on, his books. And I think everybody looked at Anthony Bourdain, the parts, you know, the what's it called? Parts Unknown, whatever it is. Where's the Places Unknown?
That's the show that he's been doing on CNN. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and those kinds of shows, and I think people look at those and go, dude, that guy is so cool.
Now, he was the most interesting man in the world.
He is living the life everybody wants to really live.
But that's what you see on TV. And I think, this is my personal opinion, I think the traveling got to him. Maybe he had some issue with his girlfriend right now, but I got to think, I mean, what you see is the good stuff on TV. You don't see him, and you travel a lot, Drew. I mean, all the shit you got to go through at the airport and missed flights and delayed flights and getting to your hotel and being away from your home. What was he away? 250, 275 days a year? That's got to take its toll on you, man. He's probably lonely as shit.
Well, he was a workaholic. I mean, I know his story pretty well, and he was never a famous chef. He just sent an unsolicited piece to, I think it was the New Yorker or whatever, and they ran it. And then he wrote the book Kitchen Confidential in 2000. And that was around the time I first heard him on the radio. And yes, radio turned me on to Anthony Bourdain. He went to Vassar briefly. Well, his dad was a classical music executive and some kind of, you know, recording executive. And his mom was worked for the New York Times. But I've watched him so long. I've read all his stuff, and that's the thing. He just had a certain way. He wrote a certain way, and initially, because the first show was on Food Network, and then he went to the Travel Channel. and then ultimately CNN. But as time went on, he got further and further really away from the food and more just about the people. And the food was kind of it was there, but it wasn't highlighted as much as it had been earlier in these different shows. And I just liked it because he went places that I could never imagine going, and it was somewhat of an ambassador for all, just getting out there and experiencing people and different cultures, and I love that. And I hope I was talking to my brother about this the other day, and we were talking about, we hope somebody takes up that mantle. No one will ever be quite the same, and they're not. It ain't Andrew Zimmern who's going to be the guy taking up that piece, but he was just so good at what he did, and it really resonated with me. I don't know if the Duck Dynasty crowd would have really enjoyed that show, but and I think that's one reason it got a lot of attention, is because there are certain people that are journalists, and they wrote about these things, and that was that kind of thing where you've got to go and find the story, relate the story, and he did such a good job at that. And I was absolutely shocked that he did this. His daughter's 11 years old.
Yeah.
Just shocked, but one never know. But I wouldn't say it would really be travel, because he's been doing it for so long. I mean, there's got to be something there. And maybe, he was a heroin addict for a while way back. I mean, people have that sometimes that hole in their soul, and it exists regardless. The thing in this case is that people would watch that and say, man, that is the coolest thing. That is the greatest job.
That's what I'm saying, is that my point is that when he passed, and the reason that people are having a hard time with it is that they don't know what was going on with Anthony Bourdain. Well,
it's like with Robin Williams. You thought, well, that's sad. And then you find out, well, he had a disease. You guys ever been suicidal?
Well, I was about to bring that up because, as they were doing all these tributes on CNN, of course, the news comes out that the 45 to 65-year-old, which we're all kind of very familiar with that demo, is the highest rate for suicide. It's gone up 30%, I think it was, in the last 10 to 12 years. The question is why? I mean, is it due to, the doctors are just throwing every drug to try to figure out what's wrong with you? Well, that one didn't work. Let's try this one, and then all of a sudden, well, so-and-so killed himself because, well, we didn't know he had mental health. What kind of medicine was he on? I do think of pharmaceuticals have a lot to do with it. I don't know what he was taking. I don't know if Kate Spade was on anything, but, I got to think those percentages are pretty damn high, and no one seems to really know why it's jumped that high in the last 10 to 12 years.
Well, I've heard of Kate Spade, but I knew really absolutely nothing about her. I'm not a woman. I'd play one on TV, but I'm not a woman. And so I saw that as a different kind of thing. I think she's been dealing with clinical depression, mental health issues for a long time.
Right.
I had no idea. In a case like when these people from 45 to 65, if you're saying the suicide rate is really increased, and I know that overall the suicide rate has increased greatly since 1999. I think that was included in a lot of these stories.
Yeah. I
think if you went and traced this stuff back, probably the origin, aside from, depression, and which is so huge, mental health is such a big deal. Which once again, people can't see it, and it's hard for people that are suffering from it to try to relate to other people and have other people understand what they're going through. But I think if you trace it back, probably most of these cases are related to times where people have been in the sauna and seen a 75-year-old guy come in and drop sack on him. Yeah. You're seeing that enough, and you go, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it is a serious issue, but to answer your question, me personally, definitely been depressed, definitely been sad, but have never, ever once crossed my mind going like, I need a way out. Just hasn't ever hit me, which I feel fortunate because, I feel horrible for those people that's where they're at. And I wish I could reach out to every one of them that feels that way, because I don't think that is the ultimate answer. Maybe it is for some, but I just think that, if you can make it through that one time, chances are you might not go back.
Well, that's a touchy thing. What about you, Drew? You ever felt suicidal?
Well, I've been on medication. I've been on Prozac back in the day. It was a long time ago. I self-medicate. I've definitely been depressed.
But I mean, usually it's depression or anxiety. I mean, I'm on Lexapro and have been for years. But
I've never, I've certainly thought about it, but I've never had a thought of, well, that's probably a good idea. I've never gotten to some kind of degree like that I feel like you have to get to.
How about this? Have you ever, even though you're not suicidal, you actually unintentionally did things that could have caused your death?
Now that
I got a long list of those.
That started when I was about 8.
Close you came to dying because of your stupid actions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You weren't intentionally suicidal, but boy, you were right in there.
I can give you an example. When I was about 9, I decided to bring out my granddaddy's hacksaw and saw off the forks of my bike and extend it out to try to make a little chopper. So I'm going down one of these country roads with these 2 forks that I decided to put together, and all of a sudden one fork went one way and the other went the other, and had that bike went to the right instead of the left, I would have fallen right in front of a car. Fortunately, my ass got dumped in the ditch. So yes, I have done that starting at a very early age.
That was Easy Rider, the Tobacco Road.
Talking about cocaine habits and things like that, Lloyd.
Oh, okay.
Like where you realize
you mean drugs.
You weren't intending any of this, but you realized that you just cheated death.
Yeah.
Or you should have been dead.
He's talking about alcohol problems.
Oh, well, you didn't mean something that physical. Like trying to jump something stupid.
Screwing up and having too much of a good time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or working afternoons at KLBJ. Just throwing it out there, baby.
I have definitely overindulged, I would say, in partying in colleges and experimenting with, drinking and other things. Fortunately, it didn't go that far.
I never come to in an upside down car in a ravine.
No, haven't done that.
Or in the Arroyo at Arroyo City. That's never happened to you.
I was riding with a couple of buddies of mine at in the Great Smoky Mountain Parkway one time. We'd been drinking a little too many pops, and it was an icy road, and we got to one of these overlooks, and the Volkswagen started sliding, and I was like, holy shit, we're going to fucking go over this mountain. And fortunately, it had one of those railroad ties at the very edge of it to stop the fucking car. But yeah, that was another close call. But again, nothing I've really stuck in my body, just stupid physical shit.
Maybe you need to spend more time in the sauna.
I got a question for you guys. If you opened your email today, how much of your email would be from people that you know or something that's important to you versus how much would be just newsletters and spam that you have to look at that made it to your inbox?
Even though you've unsubscribed 3 or 4 times?
Right.
Yeah.
They're still sending you crap?
I would say 5%, maybe 4% stuff that I need to see. 95, 96% is all just junk mail, trash.
So when you look at it, maybe on your mobile, most of what you're doing is swiping left to get rid of
delete. Yeah.
So I just had gotten so sick of that. My email account has just become a garbage can.
Right.
And so I, was just kind of getting online, looking at ways of minimizing that. And somebody mentioned to me, you know what? Screw it. You're never going to be able to get that email back. There's all sorts of services that'll unsubscribe for you, but it's never going to be everything. And you got so much crap in there, you should just dump it or use it as an email to sign up for stuff and continue to sign up for things and just get a new email. Yep. And I was like, well, I really like my email though. And they were like, well, it's never going to get better, right? You're going to go through this madness of opening it up every day and literally deleting 15, 20, 30 spammy newsletter bullshit emails just to get to maybe Because I don't even get a lot of email. Maybe 1 or 2 emails that matter to you. And so, so I did. I went and got an email account, another one, and I'm only going to use it for my friends.
But how long do you think it's going to take for them to find you again? Because they will.
If you don't tell anybody, if you don't put it on in an email or anything like that,
I see.
That isn't, a back and forth of, between 2 people.
Right.
Or sign up for something and you'll be fine. And so I'm just going to try to use this as a pristine email account and give it to people.
What is it? Can you give it out over on the podcast?
I was sort of reading about that, and people are doing that with Facebook, profiles, where you go and you create this alternate profile, and then you just go and add the people that you care about. Right.
That's a good idea.
Should have been in the first place.
Yeah. And then you either delete your other account or you let it sit there and you talk to the occasional, tertiary person in your life on that.
Right.
And so I went and did that. So I went and created I just kind of put my family on there. I think I requested you, Lloyd. Yeah, I'm just going to try put my close friends on there and my family. That way, if I want to log into Facebook, I literally only have to look at just what people I care about.
I still feel like it'll build back up. All that shit will start getting in there.
Lloyd, you got you have thousands of people thousands of likes or whatever the hell I'm not a Facebook guy, but do you unfollow every single one of those?
No, I mean, I've got a lot of friend requests that I just haven't confirmed because the ones that I do confirm, I literally do go to their page and kind of see shit that they post and look at their photos.
Yeah, but you don't know who they are.
Well, that's true. But they're listeners. There's a lot of listeners that you probably have friends that you didn't know who they were. So they came up and met you at a live remote or something or called you on the phone.
That's the reason I've got the fan site, which I'm sorry I haven't put anything up there in, I don't know, well over half a year.
Yeah.
But I've got that for followers.
Right.
And then I've got the other deal. But I mean, stuff when I'm on, you know how the things pop up in the lower right corner?
Yeah.
And so-and-so's birthday. I don't know who the hell that is.
Some of these people have hit me up so many times, and it is specific cities like Tulsa, San Antonio, Little Rock, obviously Austin. But there's certain cities where the countdown runs, and I kind of feel like some of these people I actually do know. I mean, because they're
shouldn't you have a separate Facebook page?
Well, yeah, I do have one, but they still, I kind of brought it up late in the game. They still find my personal one, which I created simply for friends and family. But as time progressed and I didn't really know Facebook at the beginning, then it just kind of blew up. Everyone found my personal one first. So I tried to create a fan page one, which has hardly, 900,000 followers, where my personal one is like almost maxed at 5,000. Because once you go to 5,000, you can't get any more friends or followers or whatever. The countdown has about 2,000. So if you put them all together, there's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 7,500, 8,000. But there's some people that hit me up every day. And even though I've never met them face to face, I kind of know them. It's like, oh, how's Taylor? I saw she graduated.
That's creepy.
That is a little weird. But I mean, they say it friendly. And even it is kind of funny. Like Ava was playing in a softball tournament in Baytown about 4 or 5 years ago. And a listener who caught the show in Beaumont actually drove up to Baytown because they saw that I was there playing music for the softball team for this big World Series tournament. She drove up to meet me in person.
Oh, she?
Yes. And her daughter. Again, the whole Facebook thing, you're right. It's a little weird. It's a little creepy, but you just have to find out how to filter what and move on.
Yeah.
Because if you're on there or not, you're not on there as much as of course Drew is. Drew is the Facebook
I got a lot
king.
of pages that, I've got one page that's followed by a lot of people that I'm an admin of. And so I want to keep that one. So I'll probably keep this.
Sauna shots.
Yeah. Old men in the sauna.
Sauna fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, there it is.
There's your Twitter account right there.
But anyway, I've got this one or two pages that I have. And so I'll probably keep that junk Facebook profile. My point is I don't have to post to that or log into it. Right. And then I can just log into this other one and look at, stuff I really care about.
Can you do a private Facebook page that only you can, like maybe a closed group that you can only invite your true friends and family that you see and talk to on the phone?
That whole mess of stuff to get to that when I log into my own.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean, since I stalk people, I mean, I go to their site and I see that you have to reach out to them, or else you're not going to see anything. They don't make anything public.
I mean, I've even told Ava, she'll be 14 in July, and she's trying to get some babysitting jobs. I was like, all right, but I promise you, these parents are going to go to your Facebook or your Instagram. I said, so if you're up there, posting some stupid shit, that might be like a job interview, and you might get screwed out of a gig because you're posting some stupid shit on Facebook. I said, so everyone is kind of going there first. I can promise you before they put you in charge of little Timmy
they're going to check your stuff out.
Yeah. So I told her, I said, keep your Facebook site clean. Don't be posting some stupid shit on there because it's like a resume now.
Where did you learn to do this stuff? From you, Dad.
Yeah.
You're like, don't be posting your slam book text on your Facebook page.
Social media in the modern family.
Going through my email recently and just getting sick of it, I think got me to this place where if I can shrink down my life like that.
If I can shrink down my life like that, I can shrink my body.
But if I shrink down everything like that into manageable bits and just kind of let that trash can be a trash can, and I'm talking about my email, then I think it'll be better, right? If I'm occasionally looking at that one and then really logging into this one all the time.
Sounds to me like you're having a day of reckoning, Drew.
Yeah.
You're trying to clean the garbage out of your life. Where you're going to be overwhelmed. You travel a lot. You got 3 little kids. This is a lot. It's a lot on you, and you're the guy bringing it home, doing whatever, trying to overcome your demons. It seems to me you're looking for a day of reckoning. I'm going to clean out all this garbage from my life.
Right.
I'm going to start trying to slim down some.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing is, of course, your existential crisis, which will be coming up here pretty soon.
Well, I tell you, not to bring everybody down, but it's, I lost my best friend in February. And I think that's really what it was, is just having lost my father and my best friend to strokes. I just don't want that for my kids. You know what I mean? And I was telling somebody the other day, I really only live for my kids, right? Because I've lived a really good life. If I die tomorrow, it'd be great. I don't care. It's fine. I've lived a very long life in my 46 years. I'm not saying that I want to. I'm just saying that if it happened, I don't feel like I've missed out on anything.
You're happy with what you've accomplished in 46.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But with my children, it's different. I don't want them to lose their father.
Right.
And so it really boils down to having gone through those experiences and especially being in the hospital in February and watching him pass in hospice. That's just something that I don't want for my kids anytime soon.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why I find it so hard for folks like Anthony and Kate, celebrities, but, people who aren't celebrities. That to me, exactly what you just said, is why I haven't ever had, haven't gone to that really, really deep, dark space in my life. Because again, I'm like you, man. I think of my 2 daughters. I'm like, man, I think that would just be such a bad thing to do to my kids. It's like if you pass away and that happens naturally, or you get in an accident or something like that. Yeah, that sucks that they had to lose their parent at an early age. But when you do it yourself, it's self-inflicted. To me, that's just, you've really got to be at a low place in your life, because you got to think that your kids are going to go like, man, I still need you, man. I wish you hadn't left so early.
Yeah, and that's when people always label it as a selfish act.
Right.
But let me ask you this, Lloyd. You're making, big assumptions. You couldn't do that to your daughters. You couldn't be. Have you asked them
if they want me to take myself out?
Yeah, like Am I really all that important?
You know,
And they look up
I haven't
briefly
taken
from the
that.
phone and go, what?
They're like BRB.
Well, I'm glad we can put some humor
maybe
on
you should
this.
just ask them first.
And then my problems will be over.
Because you'd be wasting a lot of time.
Now, that's the funniest shit I've heard all fucking year. You're right. I haven't asked them. I'm only making my own assumptions. You're right, John.
Mm-hmm.
I need to bring that up. Guys, if I decided to go, would you be that bummed out?
You know, with Father's Day coming up, let's use this as the litmus test.
Yeah.
See how things go on Sunday.
This is a great Father's Day podcast. So
How you're faded.
This is a
and,
good Father's Day
maybe you're not.
podcast. You're
Maybe-
right.
Maybe you're not really celebrated. Hey, really?
Oh, shit. We got to take
If
Dad
that's the
out.
case, fine. I'm changing my email address, my Facebook. I'm getting the hell out of here.
Oh,
to hang
my
sperm
God.
And I don't know.
Good Lord. Well, you know, now there it is. Now I got to think about that
Honduras.
shit.
I'm out. Done. So just a little thought, man.
Well, thanks for putting that in perspective because I really haven't gone down that path, John. So thank you.
we all had young kids. I've got them, and you know we've all got kids. Have you we've all been through the experience of receiving art from your children,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, wow, that's amazing. It's mind blowing. I post a lot of my son's art on my Instagram,
Yeah.
and he likes to. So I just texted you his latest.
I think the listeners heard that.
Yeah, my phone's in the kitchen.
I just you got to go get it. I just texted you his latest piece. It's a heart, okay? But
I'm pulling it up here.
take a look at it.
It looks like that. Wow. Good God. Can we make that the picture for this week's podcast?
Yes, I think so. That needs to be. That's from Screaming Ben Bennett right there, baby. I love it.
That
And I
is
was like,
excellent.
Man, Ben, that's really beautiful.
I love it. Wait until you see that in the sauna.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Man.
exactly what that dude looked like.
That looks like me the next
Right.
morning after going to the Salt Lick, dude. I'm telling you.
Oh boy.
Good
Wow,
God.
that's special right there, my friend.
Can you
It's like I call this Stormy Daniels. No, but I got you because I've got kids from 37 to 9, so I've got all this stuff, and we post the. I mean, I've got a couple of they're like curtain rods, and you can just clip kids' art on there and change it out. I'm about to take it all down because I don't get art anymore. But this, of course, is a clay piece.
You know, I keep it in my pocket so you can.
What did he tell you it was?
He said it was a heart.
Oh.
Oh, I can. Yeah, sure. Why not? I can see that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this: the heart of rock and roll ain't still beating.
Man.
It's,
I thought you had a colonoscopy today or something, and that was the result.
it's
It's my first foray into masking.
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's the portal into. Good gosh, probably your gym. I don't know what that.
Wow.
That's
But what was the other piece of art you posted? It had all the emojis on it, but it was like smack
great
smack
story.
that ass granny
Yeah,
or
this
something
was-
like that.
So this was 2 years ago. Ben is four years old.
Yeah.
And he's he's adventurous. And so we were up in Amarillo to see my mother for the holidays, and we're all sitting around the living room. And Ben my mother is just makes these bonehead moves. She gives him her phone totally unlocked. And it's like, come on, Mom, you can't do that. And so anyway, he's got her Facebook open. And he's at the time of his life where he's like, oh, look, pretty pictures. So he gets to the keyboard and he's just hitting every single icon. But anyway, I'm sitting there in the living room looking at my own Facebook, and this post comes up from my mother. And my first thought is, oh, she's been hacked, right? Because it happens to your parents. You know, my mother's been hacked a couple times. And so I said, Mom, you've been hacked. And she's like, what happened? I said, look, somebody posted something really terrible on your Facebook page. And she said, what is it? And I said, it's this big spankable asses. And Ben had somehow gone into like iBooks or something and found a book that's got this woman in a lingerie, you know, in a teddy.
Yeah,
showing
Teddy.
half of her butt cheek and then in big spankable asses. And he shares that to Facebook along with every icon and letter and special character that there is on a keyboard.
It was good.
And it took me a minute to realize that's what had happened.
Does he know we've been talking about him and calling him Screaming Ben Bennett since Beaver Kool-Aid began back in 2012?
I call him Screaming Ben Bennett today. He's been that way since he was 6 months old.
I think Lisle gave him that name.
Yeah, that's his radio name. He's Screaming Ben Bennett.
Yeah. You might have to add a saint to it.
Might not be screaming there anymore, but he's sculpting Big Bennett now, man. It's
Sculpting Ben Bennett.
Look at that thing. I still can't get away from it. It's calling me.
I know. When I see you, I'll bring it, and you can.
I wonder if it throbs and grows bigger. Yeah, you got to put that attached to the podcast, Lloyd. That's essential.
I mean, it's gonna be that I'll never get rid of this. I mean, I'll have this when he's 30.
I call it prolapse. Yeah. I mean, it's just that's a special thing right there. That's what I love about kids, though. I mean, it just they create, and there it is. So I've got this big, like one of the big storage tub or whatever, and that's what I put the kids' art in. So I try to keep everything, so that when they're older, they can just go through this stuff. You just have to remember to put a date on it because you're not going to remember.
Right.
And I just put all that crap in there. I just don't get much output anymore. They get older, and it's all about scholastics, and you don't get much creative stuff anymore.
We do the same thing. We keep all that stuff in tubs, and eventually it's just a mountain of stuff. And I guess we'll keep. I think we ended up getting keeping some things and tossing others.
Where do you have it? Like in your garage or a room or where?
Yeah, we've got them in in those tubs, those stackable tubs.
Big storage things,
Yeah,
I got a big long one, like
Wow.
for clothes that you because they won't fit in the normal size sometimes, depending on the project. But you got to remember, at some point, your Screaming Ben Bennett could be some huge artist,
Right.
and
I know
this
that
stuff
he
could be worth a lot of money. The early works of Screaming Ben Bennett.
I mean, we'll have to index all of that, right? Especially this thing. At the birth of each of my children, I created an email account for them, and then I write letters to them when I'm thinking about it.
Well, that's sweet,
And,
man. See, initially when you said that, I said, so instead of a college fund, you start an email
Yeah.
account. Way to go, Drew.
So
That's perfect.
I take pictures of the pieces that I like, that I know I will end up getting thrown out, or they'll get in a box I won't be able to find. So I send those to those email accounts, and so I use them for a couple things. I use them, for messages or something. And my plan is to give them the email account when they're old enough to read it and understand it.
Well, you feel really bad, don't you? Don't you, Lloyd? I do.
Do you know how much shit they've got in between all your pieces of art in there, though? There's, spankable asses in there, and there's, men in saunas,
They're going to be like, look at all this spam.
Yeah, you got to dig through all the spam to see the cool shit.
But that's impressive, man. I like that. I always wanted to do a deal where, and I've done it with my daughter a couple of years, but I've been bad about it. The first thing is every year at the New Year's Day, kind of fill out this questionnaire. Who are your favorite friends? What music do you like? All these things. And then you just seal that up and you allow them to look at it a year later. See how life is different in 1 year, which is huge when you're young, of course. And I think that's pretty cool. The other thing that I never did that I wanted to do back in, like 1990 or 91, and would be the same thing, would be like an annual interview. Well, you just have somebody sitting there. That way you could hear their voice, get their reactions to these different questions, and you could just see through the years how they changed. And it doesn't have to be long. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, not a big deal. And then there it is. As opposed to the candid videos, this would be a little bit more of they're talking about themselves, if you can get them to do that. But I never did that because I'm too lazy.
Me and Ava, we planted a tree. We literally had an acorn that fell off the oak tree in the front yard, and it popped up. She's like, "Wow, Dad." I said, "Yeah, let's pull it up." And there it is. She's like, "Well, let's go plant it in the backyard." And we planted it. And of course, my wife, like moving fucking furniture, she likes to move the tree. So we moved this tree like 6 times now, but we finally have a place for it. And it's about 9 feet tall now. So we actually did that. So one day she can drive by the house and say, "Hey, look at that 30-foot oak tree there. Me and my dad planted that."
Or she gets pissed off at you and she cuts down.
The fucker down and then goes like, Dad, you weren't really that important. So.
Yeah, you weren't that important. Happy Father's Day. You can move now. It's all very good stuff, man. Like I said, I've been raising kids a long 30, almost 35 years. A long, long time. And all those things are valid. But I've kept through the years, I've kept every single card I've gotten.
Me too.
Birthday, Father's Day,
Me too.
Whatever it is, I
too.
keep every single one. And I was thinking about this tonight because of course, I don't have anything backed up in the cloud, but I started thinking, if there's a fire, what am I grabbing? I'm grabbing external hard drives. I'm grabbing my CPU. I'm grabbing photo albums. And that's kind of it. Sitting there, and those cards.
Got to get the cards. Can you grab them real fast? I know exactly where all mine are. I got a folder. Boom. I'm out the door.
I'm almost 59. I don't think I can do anything really fast.
Well,
but I was thinking about it because I was saying, the only thing that's not the cards are in another part of the house. That might be a little difficult, but, yeah, I mean, if you want to be really good about that, you can scan everything and, store it in the cloud. Why don't you come and do that for me?
I know what Drew's going to grab is his fucking vape and his weed, and he's out the door. Hey, y'all, come on. I got my weed. I'm good.
I'll just stand in the backyard and inhale smoke of the weed.
Because he won't worry about it because they all got email accounts.
Right. That's right.
Fire ain't burning those up. He's all right.
Well, God bless you, fathers, and happy Father's Day to everyone who listens to Beaver Kool-Aid. I didn't even think about this leading into Father's Day, but it's kind of turned into a Father's Day podcast. So I know you guys are good dads. I'm not so sure about myself since John has definitely changed my whole way of thinking now with my kids. So I got to go question them a little bit before we go celebrate on Sunday. But to the rest of you dads, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, and hopefully somebody will do something for you instead of, you're doing everything and then they go, "Hey, Dad, appreciate it.
Yeah.
See you later."
Hey, Dad, we were thinking about going swimming. Can you get that yellow mustard algae out before my friends come over? Yeah. Take care of that.
But yeah,
you mean my yellow mustard algae swimming trunks? Sure.
Hey, would you have a pool party? Can you invite me?
Love to come to your pool party.
Yeah.
Well, we need to do a beaver pool-aid. A beaver
pool-aid. Oh, a beaver pool-aid.
Right. I like that.
I think that's our big summer promotion.
We could do that maybe after the 4th.
Beaver pool-aid.
Beaver pool-aid. The way that I'd like to see it is, hopefully the family goes out of town. Me, Drew, Lisle. We got the, 20-year-olds popping in the pool. And,
and on the count of 3, you will awaken.
I will awaken and then go like I'm not in a Bud Light commercial.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking of the sauna sit-in. Being a political activist.
There's no bikinis. There's only 75-year-old nuts.
There we go.
Oh, man.
I will go to your party and I will tear it up.
Really? Beaver Kool-Aid.
Get it hard.
With Lisle, L.A. Lloyd, and Drew.
Make it like a man.
So go ahead, stick your head up your ass.